Basically, like music, I've always wanted to own my own music since I started making my music. And if you probably don't know this, but most of your favorite artists do not own their work.
People care so much more about your personal life than they do your work. And if you aren't open with your personal life, then they just make it up for you and share it for you.
A twist has shaken celebrity circles and fans alike, as Taylor Swift, once seen as one of Blake Lively's closest allies, has reportedly come forward with information that challenges Blake's claims against filmmaker Justin Baldoni. According to multiple sources, Taylor has presented evidence showing significant inconsistencies in Blake's version of events surrounding the adaptation of It Ends With Us, a film project at the center of an ongoing conflict. While many initially assumed Taylor's friendship with Blake would firmly place her on Blake's side, the rumor now circulating is that Taylor has stepped forward, unofficially or otherwise, to share her own account of what actually transpired, questioning Blake's narrative in the process. This revelation has taken many by surprise, especially given that Taylor and Blake had long been praised for their seemingly unbreakable bond, often celebrated for their social media interactions, shared humor, and public support for each other. However, if the reports are accurate, Taylor's decision to speak out has forced observers to rethink everything they thought they knew about the situation, sparking new questions about loyalty, friendship, and the influence of personal beliefs in shaping public narratives. What makes this so compelling in today's woke climate is the fact that this dispute touches on the intersection of personal alliances and broader social dynamics. As a prominent figure in the entertainment industry, Taylor's involvement has introduced an unexpected wrinkle into a narrative already fraught with complexities around power, gender, and media representation. In a time when cancel culture and social justice issues dominate public discourse, the sudden shift in Taylor's stance may reflect a larger cultural shift away from blind loyalty toward a more nuanced, individual-driven analysis of truth and integrity in the industry. For many, the conflict had been largely framed around Blake's allegations that Justin had orchestrated negative tabloid stories about her to undermine her credibility and downplay her involvement in the film. These claims fit a broader narrative within woke culture that seeks to expose power imbalances and media manipulation, particularly when it comes to women in the entertainment world. However, the release of contradictory messages has now added a new layer to the story, casting doubt on Blake's version and suggesting that she may have been strategically maneuvering behind the scenes to secure more control over the film's direction and narrative. In a moment when public figures are expected to take stands on social justice issues, the release of these texts and the ensuing drama highlights how celebrity disputes are increasingly framed within a woke context. With fans and media alike questioning who holds power, who speaks truth, and how these figures use their platforms, Taylor's involvement forces a reconsideration of the complexities behind the public personas of all parties involved. What once seemed like a straightforward case of industry rivalry has now become a mirror reflecting broader cultural tensions surrounding authenticity, privilege, and the performance of solidarity.
And being frank, if it were not for women giving me direct feedback in my own personal life and being a man who was willing to at least listen to them, there's no chance that I would be having this conversation. So the message, to answer your question, the message is very simple. As men, we need to embrace all of the parts of us that make us human. That's it. It's very simple.
The screenshots revealed a determined figure who seemed to use her influential network, including her husband Ryan Reynolds, other A-listers, and presumably famous friends, to make it clear that if her vision for the film project wasn't respected, she could call on her connections to sway public opinion, as well as influence the film's editing and promotion. In stark contrast, Blake's initial narrative had suggested that Justin was the one strategically leaking negative stories to harm her reputation. However, the text logs now showed Blake's own readiness to leverage her star-studded alliances in similar ways. Taylor's name had lingered around these speculations for some time. After all, as one of the biggest names in entertainment, her influence could easily shape public perception. But no one could have predicted that she would break ranks so publicly. the tension within the film project had started quietly. It Ends With Us, a best-selling novel known for its emotional depth, had already captured the attention of fans eagerly awaiting its cinematic adaptation. When Justin took on the role of both co-writer and director, his fan base rallied behind him, drawn to his previous work focused on human connection, empathy, and heartfelt storytelling. Blake's casting only added to the excitement, with her star power and reputation for relatable glamour. The two publicly praised each other, emphasizing their shared commitment to honoring the novel's emotional core. Yet, behind the scenes, rumors began to circulate that Blake felt overshadowed. The tabloids quickly picked up on stories suggesting she was uncomfortable being directed by a co-writer who also had a starring role, which could limit her creative input. Although Blake never made any direct accusations, subtle changes in her behavior during interviews raised suspicions that tensions were building. The situation reached a tipping point when Blake filed legal documents, claiming that the on-set conditions for certain scenes, particularly those involving close contact, did not meet proper protocols. She also highlighted comments Justin allegedly made regarding her postpartum appearance. These revelations initially struck many as troubling. If Justin had indeed made her feel uncomfortable or dismissed her, it would tarnish the progressive, thoughtful image he had worked to build. However, just as the situation seemed to be heading in that direction, Justin's camp released a series of communications that painted a very different picture. The texts revealed him actively ensuring Blake's comfort, both physically and emotionally, with one message even showing him checking if certain movements might be too taxing for her due to his own struggles with a chronic back condition. These revelations shifted the narrative, portraying Justin in a more conscientious light, rather than as the villain. Meanwhile, it became clear that Justin's priority wasn't to orchestrate a smear campaign, but to clear his name and restore his reputation.
She said, just read it, because I was looking for movies that could be commercial and speak to the human experience. And
Were you reading romance novels?
And I had never read a romance novel.
Never?
And she said, just trust me, read it. So I read it, and by the end of the book, I couldn't even read the text on the page because I was crying so much. My wife was in bed next to me, and she's, I got snot coming out of my nose.
The initial rumor that Justin was overshadowing Blake for personal gain has gradually been called into question with every new set of leaked messages, revealing a more collaborative and considerate approach on his part. Industry insiders are now noting that Justin's consistent release of evidence, even providing full logs instead of selectively curated snippets, has not only bolstered his credibility, but also highlighted how a Hollywood feud can spiral from a few unverified claims into a full-blown scandal before the truth finally emerges. A growing number of fans, once uncertain about the situation, are now leaning towards seeing Justin as the more transparent party in the dispute. Taylor Swift's rumored role as the keeper of receipts comes at a time when revelations from the It Ends With Us film set have reached unprecedented levels. Crew members who were initially hesitant to speak out have started sharing their perceptions of Blake's behavior on set. Some describe instances where Blake would insist on extra takes or script changes, only to later cite those same incidents as evidence that the production was chaotic and dismissive of her. In light of this conflicting behavior, the idea that Blake might have been strategizing to gain more creative control or public sympathy becomes more plausible. While it's clear there were genuine issues on set, no production is flawless. The frequency with which Blake's allegations have unraveled under scrutiny has led many to wonder if she exaggerated everyday conflicts for ulterior motives. The turning point came when Blake's lawyer publicly walked away from the case, citing irreconcilable issues with Blake's story. That moment marked what many observers saw as a major blow to her credibility. Now, the possibility that Taylor Swift, known for her loyalty and close friendships, might have found the holes in Blake's account too significant to overlook is intensifying the impact. Even if the full extent of Taylor's involvement never comes to light, the mere rumor of her participation has raised the stakes in this already dramatic conflict to an unprecedented level. What began as a standard on-set disagreement is now embroiled in questions of integrity, alliances, and transparency. Taylor's fans, who are particularly vocal on social media, have erupted in debate. One faction insists the rumors must be exaggerated, struggling to imagine a rift between two women who appeared so tightly bonded. Another, more willing to accept the possibility, points to Taylor's history with high-profile feuds and suggests she might feel compelled to side with truth and integrity over personal ties, particularly if she believes that an injustice has occurred. Meanwhile, the rest of the public watches from the sidelines, awaiting any official statement from either Taylor's representatives or the film's production team to clarify whether she has indeed provided evidence that challenges Blake's reliability. As this drama unfolds, the It Ends With Us film faces an uphill battle. Even if production runs smoothly from this point onward, both critics and audiences will find it difficult to watch without the shadow of these controversies looming over its creation.
I mean, I internalized that as opportunity. Like, we had such a responsibility to this audience to deliver something and to have the opportunity to deliver something for a passionate group of people.
Yes.
As someone who is so deeply passionate myself, I was so excited about that. I would so much rather have that than people who are indifferent.
Blase.
Investors and marketing executives are likely grappling with whether the baggage from Blake's legal conflict will harm the final release of It Ends With Us. Some may try to spin the drama as a publicity boost, but the intensity and negativity of the allegations, especially the shock value of Taylor Swift reportedly providing damaging information, make that a risky strategy, not an exciting one. The project has come to embody the unpredictability of creative collaborations in an era where personal texts and private conversations can quickly be leaked to millions. This whole debacle is also sparking a broader conversation in Hollywood about the collateral damage personal relationships can incur when contracts, roles, and reputations are at stake. Blake's once untouchable image is now riddled with doubt, and even her most loyal defenders are beginning to question how they can continue supporting her in light of the mounting evidence. While she might attempt a public reset or embark on an apology tour, the presence of Taylor Swift in this situation complicates that approach. A star of Taylor's stature carries enormous weight, and if she has indeed chosen to challenge Blake's narrative, it places Blake in an even more vulnerable position. A half-hearted retraction might seem hollow, and a full confession, if Blake truly misrepresented parts of the story, could prove career-altering, especially in a time when trustworthiness is paramount. Fans are increasingly adept at dissecting public apologies to determine whether they ring true. Compounding all of this is the reality that Hollywood at large is closely watching how studio heads and casting directors will respond. Even the suggestion that an A-list star might have manipulated a production or twisted the facts could deter future collaborations, particularly if major power players, such as top-tier lawyers, start distancing themselves. The fact that Blake's personal circle may no longer fully support her transforms or could have been a quiet industry rumor into a full-blown cultural reckoning. Producers who once considered her a no-brainer for prestige projects may now weigh the potential risks. If the behind-the-scenes story is that even Taylor Swift felt the need to break ranks, it signals deeper trust issues than typical Hollywood friction. Meanwhile, Justin's public statements have remained calm and measured. He has expressed regret that what he hoped would be a collaborative process has instead turned into a public fiasco. He's also reiterated his commitment to finishing the film and staying true to the essence of the original novel. This stance, combined with his consistent display of factual evidence, has placed him in a relatively strong position, even if the drama has been taxing for everyone involved. If Taylor's revelation confirms that Blake manipulated the narrative all along, Justin's conscientious approach might inspire a wave of professional goodwill, ironically boosting his reputation at a time when it seemed he was under attack.
It's believing that people and humanity are inherently good. And they crave nutritious food in their soul, just as they do in their bodies.
Once the shock of this entire ordeal subsides, the film could very well attract even more attention, as audiences become curious to see the final product that sparked such a high-profile meltdown. At this point, the biggest unanswered question remains. Will Taylor Swift's rumored receipts be made public in a more definitive manner? Or will the current wave of chatter be all that emerges from her involvement? While some fans are clamoring for clarity and demanding any definitive documentation that exposes exactly how Blake's claims unraveled, neither Taylor nor her representatives have issued an official statement yet. Industry buzz suggests that even if this new evidence never sees the inside of a courtroom, it's already exerting significant influence behind the scenes. If key figures, such as producers, directors, or studio executives, have already seen the receipts, their decisions about future collaborations may already be in motion. This could be devastating for Blake, particularly if she was relying on her star power to navigate through the conflict with minimal damage. That said, the story isn't over. Hollywood has a notorious short memory when it comes to scandals, especially if a star can find the right moment or project to reframe the narrative. Blake could try to shift the conversation by focusing on philanthropic efforts, launching a new venture, or quietly negotiating a settlement with Justin by signing with a new attorney. However, this potential path to redemption looks far narrower if Taylor Swift is truly standing on the other side of the dispute, stepping forward to say that she can't remain silent while someone she deeply respects, potentially Justin, is being misrepresented. The personal dimension of this choice, two famous friends potentially fracturing under the weight of contradictory information, elevates the drama beyond standard Hollywood gossip into the realm of a major cultural moment. In the end, the swirling talk of Taylor Swift testifying against Blake Lively has completely overshadowed the original question of whether It Ends With Us will fare well at the box office. Now, the saga is less about whether fans of the novel will appreciate the adaptation and more about how one of entertainment's most recognized friendships might be collapsing under the pressure of conflicting narratives. With each new leak or rumor, the illusions surrounding Hollywood's carefully curated alliances continue to unravel. If nothing else, the supposed involvement of someone as high-profile as Taylor proves that no amount of star power can prevent the truth from coming to light. People may spin stories for a while, but once a friend steps forward with hard evidence, everything changes.
And he said, yes. So then every day on set, I was like, is today a comedy or is it a thriller?
It's a good mix
and
of
it's
both.
like, yeah, it's like really kind of over the top and campy and trashy and fun and like,
It's a
kind of
comedy.
like my outfit, I guess.
Whether or not the full truth comes out through a press conference, a social media post, or a behind-closed-doors settlement, the ripple effects for Blake, Justin, and now Taylor will likely linger long after. The public has witnessed every twist and turn of this saga, from Blake's initial claims to the departure of her attorney, and now Taylor's unexpected involvement. This storyline, filled with legal tension, personal betrayal, and the uneasy collision of fact and image, has become the ultimate cautionary tale for those who imagine celebrity disputes as nothing more than glitzy entertainment or inconsequential drama. If Taylor Swift has indeed decided to side with corroborated evidence, it reinforces the powerful lesson that once texts, voice notes, and personal testimonies enter the public arena, even the most carefully crafted narratives can quickly fall apart. It's anyone's guess how Blake will respond now that the rumor of Taylor's involvement has hit mainstream attention. She might try to salvage the relationship by claiming a misunderstanding or offering partial truths, or she could go on the offensive, questioning Taylor's motivations. Another possibility is that she might recede from the public eye, focusing on private negotiations to limit further damage. In any scenario, Blake's brand faces a formidable challenge. A once best friend who has apparently become a key figure in unraveling the carefully shaped narrative Blake presented to the public. In show business, few revelations are as shocking as a celebrity testifying, whether formally or informally, against someone they once championed. As the days go by, the conversation among fans, industry insiders, and media outlets will likely intensify, each group eager to discover just how deep Taylor's involvement goes. Could there be more receipts? Could the scenario be flipped if Blake uncovers contradictory evidence of her own? For now,